The Connecticut Realtors Foundation is in the midst of its annual Be Homeful for the Holidays campaign. It's in its third year, and it's a partnership with the Connecticut Coalition to End Homelessness, or CCEH. We are going to speak now with Sarah Fox, who is the Director of Advocacy and Community Impact for CCEH. And let's touch briefly on what is the goal of the Be Homeful campaign.
The goal of the Be Homeful campaign is to provide families with resources to keep them from coming into the front door of shelter.
Now, this is something that you are very personally aware of. Your family, you and your twin sister and your mom, were in a shelter when you were little. Can you share a little bit about your story?
My mother and I and my sisters, we had been in a domestic violence incident, and my mother took us to Florida, and she found a job. She got us, we were in a hotel, and we were there. So we hadn't found housing in the community, but we were in a hotel. And what she needed to get to the job was transportation. She had no way to get transportation to and from her job. So it was at that point that we became homeless. And so it's, my story is like the story of so many others where, my mom just needed something little, and it would have been a really light touch subsidy, and we would have, not have ever had to experience being homeless.
About how old were you?
I was definitely a toddler, 2 to 3, and I remember it, and I remember pieces of it. And having worked in the field, the Be Homeful campaign has been so much about providing hope to these families, and it's brought me back to thinking about that experience and thinking about what it was like for me and my family. And being housing unstable is, growing up in poverty, and housing stability is definitely one of those things where, when you're that poor, you look for whatever resource you possibly can to, keep your family safe and keep your family stable. And my mom did just that. She was trying every single day to keep us whole and to keep us from experiencing any more further trauma. And so knowing that we have these resources, knowing that our homelessness response system today is working actively to divert families from coming into trauma, I think it makes just perfect sense, because then children don't have to ever experience for one day what it feels like to be in shelter.
You mentioned the trauma aspect of it, and you said you were 2 to 3 years old. And that obviously had a big impact on you, because a lot of people don't remember things when they're that young, but it's something that you say you have distinct memories.
Well, so one of the things with Paddington Bear and with Be Homeful is that there are these marmalade jars, and we use them in drives across the state, and children, fill the marmalade jars with coins, and then they go towards helping to prevent families from coming into shelter. So as part of that, when we started the Be Homeful campaign, it just brought me back, because one of the things when we were in shelter in Florida was that we had to leave the shelter at 8 a.m. and we didn't get to return back to the shelter until 4. So my mom had my big sister and me and my twin sister to take care of, and we were in a park, and what we would do is we would just beg, and we'd beg for coins. And so it really just all hit home and came full circle when I was thinking, and I brought it to my mother, and I said, I'm recalling this, is this all how it happened? And it was very much how it happened. And I've always, as an adult, been uniquely committed to ending homelessness, and it's part of my why for why I do the work that I do.
That's what I was going to ask next. Is this why you do what you do?
I mean, all of my work leading up to this has been very much in the vein of helping women, ending domestic violence, and helping to prevent trauma for children, and working with people with serious mental health issues. And it all has sort of come together in working to end homelessness. And I'm just 100% committed to the belief that we should be doing everything we can as a state and as a community and as a country to really put an end to family homelessness and to make sure that no child experiences this. So I think that, yes, it's very much all entwined. And I think I'm also very excited because I see the impact and I see the effect, and it makes strong, stable communities. And it helps to ensure that children have a great start to their future. And and they don't have to experience it, because these are not memories that I cherish, but they're memories that drive me.
I believe that one of the statistics is that children who experience homelessness as a child are more likely to experience it as an adult. Is that why it's so important to put an end to family and youth homelessness?
I mean, definitely. And we see it time and time and time again. And the long-term impact can be cataclysmic. And I mean, for the child and for the family, because once you come into the homeless shelter, we know a child's mental health depreciates about 50% upon the first day in shelter. And it's not because our shelters are not well equipped, it's just because the experience of homelessness is that traumatic. It's being without a home. And so if you put yourself there, and so I experienced homelessness as a child. My mother experienced, being outside, being on shelter when I was an adult. When you live in that sort of housing instability for your life, it means you never have a home. And you never have that sense of stability. And that has an impact.
The Be Homeful for the Holidays campaign is going on right now. To learn more about the project and the involvement with the CT Realtors Foundation, go to ctrealtors-care.org. And Sarah, thank you for joining us on CTR TV.
Thank you so much. Thanks.